The night the news broke, Hollywood fell completely still. No red carpets, no flashing cameras, no clever headlines, just a quiet shock that spread through screens and hearts everywhere. For a moment it felt like the world had forgotten how to move. How does someone so full of life vanish overnight? She was only 23. Isabelle Tate, the radiant new face from 9-to-11, Nashville, was supposed to be at the very beginning of everything. Instead, her name was suddenly trending beside the word no one expected to see. Within minutes, social media turned into a digital candlelight vigil. Co-stars posted behind-the-scenes photos, fans shared clips of her most emotional scenes, and even news outlets dropped their usual tone for something gentler. Every comment seemed to say the same thing: this can't be real. But what few knew was the silent battle she'd been fighting all along. It took days for the shock to settle, and when it did, the truth that emerged was even more heartbreaking. Isabelle hadn't simply disappeared without warning. She had been living with a rare condition for years. It's called Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, softly pronounced Charcot-Marie-Tooth, a name that sounds almost delicate compared to what it does. Doctors describe it as a neurological disorder, but to those who live with it, it's something far more personal, a quiet thief that slowly steals strength, balance, and movement from the body. Friends say Isabelle was diagnosed in her late teens, around the same time her career began to rise. She made a decision early on: the world would see her passion, not her pain. One friend put it simply: she never wanted sympathy, only to keep working. And she did. Through long filming days, red carpets, and interviews, Isabelle smiled, laughed, and lifted everyone around her. But behind every bright grin and effortless performance, there was a struggle most never saw. Some days, even standing too long left her exhausted. On others, she'd feel the numbness in her legs that reminded her time was precious. Yet she never once let it define her. To everyone watching, Isabelle was unstoppable. Only those closest to her knew how much strength it took just to keep going. She carried that quiet resilience everywhere she went, from the tiny community theaters where she first learned to breathe life into a role, to the bright sound stages of Los Angeles where her name finally appeared on a call sheet that changed everything. Even then, Isabelle never asked for special treatment. If anything, she worked harder, staying late, memorizing lines long after everyone else had gone home. It wasn't ambition that drove her, it was gratitude. Every scene, every take, every moment on camera felt like a small victory against the odds her body kept stacking against her. Those who knew her say she found strength in purpose. That acting wasn't just a job, it was how she stayed alive inside. And in those early years, when the lights were brightest and the applause was loudest, no one could have guessed the quiet endurance that lived behind her smile. ChatGPT said, when 9-to-11 Nashville premiered, few could have predicted how deeply it would resonate with viewers, or how much of its heartbeat would come from Isabelle Tate. The show itself was a whirlwind of emotion. Late-night emergency calls, lives hanging by a thread, the kind of human chaos that reminded audiences how fragile life could be. But amidst the sirens and flashing lights, it was Isabelle's presence that grounded everything. Her portrayal of a young emergency dispatcher was raw, steady, and heartbreakingly real. Fans connected with her almost instantly. She played the role with a quiet resilience that mirrored something deeply human. The feeling of keeping it together when everything around you is falling apart. What no one realized then was that her character's inner strength wasn't just acting, it was reflection. The woman on screen, fighting to stay calm through crisis after crisis, wasn't so different from the woman behind the camera, facing her own unseen battles. Within months, Isabelle's name began to surface in fan forums, interview clips, and awards chatter. Critics praised her ability to command emotion through stillness. She earned nominations that placed her alongside seasoned actors, yet she remained humble, thanking her crew, her co-stars, and the audience who believed in her. Castmates described her as the calm in the storm, the one who remembered everyone's lines, birthdays, and favorite snacks. Fan pages began to multiply, hundreds of edits capturing her laugh, her most powerful scenes, her rare behind-the-scenes moments. She was no longer just part of the ensemble. She was the emotional anchor holding the series together. In hindsight, the signs were there, small details that fans would only piece together later. The way Isabelle walked just a little slower down the red carpet, how she began favoring long gowns that brushed the floor, as if the fabric itself offered balance. In interviews, she sat more often than she used to, folding her hands neatly in her lap, her smile unwavering even as exhaustion flickered behind her eyes. But in the moment, no one questioned it. To everyone watching, she was simply poised, graceful, the picture of composure. On set, she refused to cancel a single shoot. Not once. Directors and producers offered her breaks, reschedules, even stand-ins, but she always said the same thing. If I can speak, I can act. Her determination was almost defiant. The show's director later recalled, "She never complained, not once. Not about pain, not about fatigue, not about anything. She showed up, did the work, and lifted everyone around her." Between filming seasons, while other cast members took vacations or attended premieres, Isabelle's time was quieter. There were trips to the hospital, discreet, unpublicized, unmentioned. The tabloids never found out, and that's exactly how she wanted it. Those close to her say she'd finish an appointment, rest for a few days, then return to work as if nothing had happened. It wasn't denial. It was dignity. Her courage was in her silence, in her choice to act through the ache. Every line she delivered, every tear she shed on camera, carried something real behind it. The pain didn't take away from her performance. It gave it depth. It gave it truth. The news broke on a Sunday morning, quietly at first, like a whisper traveling through an empty room. Then, within minutes, it was everywhere. A brief family statement released through her publicist confirmed what no one wanted to believe. Isabelle Tate had passed away. The words were simple, respectful, and devastating. For a moment, the entertainment world froze. Then came the wave. Major outlets picked it up within the hour. Variety, People, Deadline, each one running the same heartbreaking headline. Social media erupted in disbelief. Fans refused to accept it, refreshing pages, hoping for clarification, for a retraction, for anything that might undo what they'd just read. But the silence from her team said everything. By afternoon, the internet had become a memorial. Hashtags like Rep Isabelle Tate and Remember Isabelle trended across platforms, crossing languages and time zones. People shared old interviews where she laughed softly between questions. Others posted fan edits set to gentle piano music, scenes from 911, Nashville that now carried a weight they never had before. Artists drew her in angelic light. Others lit candles and posted photos of the screen as her final episode replayed in the background. It wasn't just a celebrity passing. It felt like a collective heartbreak for an entire generation who'd seen themselves in her strength. To many, Isabelle wasn't just an actress. She was the quiet reminder that courage didn't always roar. When the family's full statement was released the following day, it struck a chord that rippled far beyond Hollywood. In carefully chosen words, they spoke of Isabelle's private battle with Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, how she had faced it with grace, courage, and an unwavering spirit. They thanked fans for their love, their letters, and their patience in giving the family space to grieve. But above all, they expressed hope that Isabelle's story would shine a light on a condition most people had never even heard of. They explained that CMT, as it's often shortened, is a genetic neurological disorder that slowly damages the nerves responsible for movement and sensation in the arms and legs. There's no cure yet, only therapy, treatment, and perseverance. For years, Isabelle had balanced her rising fame with doctor visits, physical therapy, and quiet determination. Her family wanted the world to know not just what took her, but how she lived through it. Almost immediately, awareness of the disease began to spread. Health organizations reported a surge in online searches for CMT. Donation links to research foundations appeared beneath tribute posts. Fans who'd never heard of the condition before began sharing educational infographics alongside photos of Isabelle, turning grief into purpose. In one of her last recorded interviews, filmed just months before her passing, Isabelle spoke about the meaning of resilience. Her voice was calm, thoughtful. "Every challenge teaches you something," she said, "even the ones that try to break you." At the time, it sounded like wisdom from a young actress learning about life. But now, those words feel like a message she left behind for all of us. A reminder that strength isn't just about standing tall. Sometimes it's about standing at all. In the weeks that followed, something extraordinary began to happen. Advocacy groups that had spent years trying to raise awareness for Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease started reporting a sudden spike in public interest. Their websites were flooded with visitors looking for information, for support, for answers. Doctors and researchers began receiving emails from families who recognized symptoms in loved ones and wanted to seek early testing. Isabelle's story had done in days what entire campaigns had struggled to achieve in years. It made people care. Across social media, fans transformed their grief into action. They organized fundraisers, auctioned signed memorabilia, and launched online drives to support CMT research foundations. Hashtags like Saga for Isabelle and Shine for CMT and Hope for Nerves appeared alongside photos of blue ribbons and candlelight vigils. Artists shared portraits of her surrounded by silver light, each brushstroke capturing not her illness, but her impact. Her colleagues from 9 to 11, Nashville found their own quiet way to honor her. On the first day back on set after the news, the cast and crew gathered in silence. They placed candles around her empty chair, the same one she used to occupy between takes, and let them burn through the morning. The show's creator later confirmed that an upcoming episode would be dedicated entirely to her memory. "She wasn't just part of the cast," he said softly. "She was part of our hearts. Even in death, she was saving lives, by helping others seek early diagnosis, by giving visibility to those who'd felt invisible for so long. Her legacy had turned into a movement, and that movement carried her name. And in that flicker of candlelight, something larger than fame was reborn: hope."